8 million residents in New York City have bet their lives on the bright neon light from New York with dreams of freedom, opportunity, and a prosperous life. But perhaps few people know that those lights have never reached the hidden corners behind the airport, beneath the subway stations, or in the dark alleys. There lie the lost souls, and an America in decline that no one wants you to see. No longer the city of dreams, New York is becoming an urban hell, where horrifying secrets are hidden. The streets once known as the center of the world have now become such a fierce battlefield for survival that even police forces must be wary when entering. In today's video, we'll take you into the 8 darkest hotspots of New York, where the shadow of helplessness and despair hangs over you, leaving you in disbelief that this is the city itself known for its dazzling dreams. If you step into the New York subway tunnels in 2025, what appears before your eyes is not just train cars or tracks, but the naked form of nightmares that live with you every day, whether we want to see it or not. The New York subway system, once a symbol of connection and convenience, has now become a reluctant home for thousands of homeless people. A newly released report shows that the number of homeless people in train cars and train stations has skyrocketed by 20% in just the past year. Amid the hasty trains, in the dim light of train stations, many people had to sleep struggling on chairs, on the station floor, or wandering between train cars. For passengers who travel every day, this scene brings a feeling of both mercy and insecurity. If you often travel by subway on crowded trains, you can easily see homeless people passing by with lifeless eyes. But what is most worrying is the increasing prevalence of threatening behavior from homeless people. A recent shocking incident was when a homeless person woke up in a train car and pulled out a hammer to threaten passengers, causing many to panic. Incidents of this type have become increasingly common, raising concerns about passenger safety. In response to this serious situation, the New York City Transit Authority, MTA, has launched a new program in collaboration with social workers to reach the homeless and encourage them to leave train stations, moving into temporary shelter centers. The measure is intended to reduce homelessness in the subway system, but also faces a response from a large portion of passengers and community organizations. In addition, the MTA has increased its police presence, increasing the number of police officers from 50 to 100 in order to assist social groups in reaching the homeless. Along with that, coordinate with the NYPD and city agencies in efforts to improve the situation. Although the situation has improved, the real effect still raises a big question mark from both the homeless and passengers. The presence of homeless people in these areas is not only a sign of poverty, but also a testament to the system's inability to protect its weakest citizens. If this situation continues without a complete solution, can New York continue to maintain the image of a prosperous city where every American dream can come true? Or will this city face a dark future where degradation and injustice are widespread? Be careful when stepping down to NYC's JFK Airport, because it's not only one of New York's busy gateways, it's also a haven for a socially forgotten community of homeless people living in the shadows, right in the heart of the city. Homeless people taking shelter here are increasing, especially in the area between AirTrain and Terminal 5, where there is a heating system in winter. That's why many homeless people choose this place to find some warmth on cold winter days. They didn't go to JFK because of a tourist flight or a business trip. They live here because this is a public place where they can temporarily stay without being kicked out. They take the subway to Jamaica Station and then use AirTrain to enter the FAO airport. And because this is a public area, security forces have no right to chase them away unless they engage in disruptive or dangerous behavior. This causes JFK Airport to accidentally become an unofficial shelter for those without shelter. Every night, a team of employees from the non-profit Urban Pathways, along with the police, will conduct tests at the terminals. Their aim is to find homeless people who are sheltering and to assist them in their search for shelter, health services, and social support. But despite the presence of such institutions, The result is a vague question mark. The organization does not share specific figures on their work performance or the proportion of people successfully helped. This leads us to ask ourselves, are the institutions and authorities really doing enough to solve this problem, or are these only temporary measures which help in part without ever tackling the root of the problem? Data from Coalition for the Homeless shows that the number of single homeless people in New York is now 117% higher than it was 10 years ago. This not only reflects the increase in the homeless population, but is also a clear indication that support policies are not strong enough and are not keeping up with the increase in this situation. Homeless people are not just numbers in the report. They are people with stories, fates that we can hardly fully understand if we only see a glimpse when passing through the airport or neighborhood. Passengers or residents living around the airport expressed marked insecurity. They not only worry about the disruptive behavior of some homeless people, but also feel the disorder that is gradually entering their living space. However, the homeless themselves do not choose this life. They also dream of a roof, a cozy bed to sleep in, and a not-so-harsh winter next to the fireplace. But instead of having that, they face difficulties that this society cannot or does not want to help. So are we missing out on something important? Are these homeless people really forgotten in the American dream they once believed in? This question, only we, who witnessed and cannot ignore, can answer. Manhattan is the heart of New York, always shining brightly through skyscrapers, Wall Street, Broadway, or Central Park. As a melting pot of prosperity and power, Manhattan is not only the heart of global finance, but also the pride of America, where many people come to realize their dreams. However, hidden behind that halo is a harsh reality that few people want to face. Just a few streets from Times Square, the brightly lit street corners have become the home of homeless people. They lay huddled on the sidewalk, crammed into subway tunnels, or scrambling for sleeping spots on street corners. For many people, it is a life. Every day is a red and black gamble, and the bet is their life. According to many real records, Manhattan currently has the highest homeless density in the entire city of New York. Anyone walking a short distance in the center, it will not be difficult to catch a senior citizen or veteran sleeping on the sidewalk, sometimes even more so. The W39th Street area, between 9th and 10th Avenues, was almost completely occupied by makeshift tents. As for the old parking lots, the dark alleys at Hell's Kitchen or Penn Station, they have become reluctant shelters for people who have nowhere to go. This situation becomes even more serious when night falls. In the dark, Manhattan is no longer like a city of prosperity and opportunity, but like a ruined, chaotic version as if it had just gone through World War II. The light from the brilliant electronic billboards cannot penetrate the dark alleys, where poverty, despair, and tension accumulate like a time bomb, ready to explode at any moment. The scene was like a dead zone that even law enforcement had to be shy about entering the mission. A police officer frankly shared, "Everything in this area is completely out of control. We are trained to handle dangerous situations. But what is happening here is the disintegration of an entire society, and nobody has a response to that." Those words reflect the government's inability to control the situation, and are a sign of collapse in a system that is gradually losing its ability to protect people. Why, right in the middle of America's wealthiest city, do forbidden zones exist, where even the security forces tasked with protecting them must step back? Manhattan was once a testament to America's power and dream, but now it is facing a terrifying reality: the backwardness of a society that cannot protect the weakest in its own city. The solution to solve this problem is not simple. The cost of supporting housing, creating jobs, providing psychological counseling, or stabilizing the lives of hundreds of thousands of homeless people is a difficult problem. However, New York is still trying step by step, district by district, to find a way to turn this paradoxical flow around. But will change come in time? If even Manhattan, the heart of the global economy, cannot guarantee its citizens a normal home. Where can we believe to resolve this crisis? If there is one place that is considered a symbol of New York, it is Times Square. Bright neon lights, giant billboards, endless crowds of people, all create a scene that any visitor wants to see with their own eyes. But behind that glamour is a truth that makes many people feel confused. Times Square today is no longer the same shimmering memory they heard about or experienced many years ago. Many recent visitors describe their experiences in terms that contrast with promotional imagery. Next to the crowd of tourists are jostling, noise, and potential dangers. Some people report being manipulated into making purchases or watching street performances at an arbitrary price but being forced to pay more than expected. Many visitors think they have entered a chaotic space where comfort and safety are tested every minute. This change comes not only from the huge number of visitors each year, but also from deeper social upheaval. Rents and the cost of living in the area around Manhattan continue to escalate, creating a sharp gap between locals and tourist flows. While big stores and brands take advantage of the lights to attract, many local residents feel they are being pushed out of the place they once considered the heart of the city of. Times Square became a giant stage, but not everyone had a role to belong there. Several major organizations and brands have begun testing a new solution, investing in safer, cleaner, and friendlier public spaces. For example, initiatives that combine companies like Starbucks with local communities to open additional free rest spots and support those in need have been seen as small but meaningful steps. These models, if replicated, could give a more human feeling to a place that is remembered only for its bright lights and huge billboards. Are we losing the true soul of New York while still chasing the dazzling lights? Central Park has long been considered the green lungs of New York, a place where millions of people and tourists come to breathe fresh air, walk under ancient trees, or enjoy a rare feeling of peace. Rare in the middle of a noisy city, but behind that poetic image, many other stories make people shudder. Is Central Park really a paradise in the heart of the city, or is it hiding dark areas that few people dare to say directly about? A worrying fact is that crime rates in and around this park area are always a sensitive topic. Reports show that despite the city government's investment in security, there are still incidents of dangerous that occur in stages. Those incidents are often not mentioned much in travel promotion sheets, but leave scars in the memories of those who have experienced them. For older travelers, especially those familiar with the image of a safer New York in the past, this fact can cause great disappointment. Besides crime, the problem of homelessness is also a situation that cannot be ignored. Many areas in the park have become home to people who have no place to go. The image of makeshift tents set up under the shade of trees sparks debate. Are public parks gradually turning into reluctant shelters for miserable lives? This is not only a story of visitor safety, but also a reminder of the economic inequality and social rift that is increasingly evident in one of the world's wealthiest cities. To address these concerns, several major brands have participated in community initiatives. For example, many international companies have sponsored programs to maintain landscape and security in parks. Typically Coca-Cola, with campaigns associated with the message "Green, Clean, Safe." Such efforts not only help Central Park maintain a beautiful image in the eyes of the world, but also remind that the responsibility for preserving urban heritage does not belong only to the government, but also needs the cooperation of the whole society. So in the end, is Central Park really a place to find peace? Or is it becoming a mirror reflecting the dark patches of a city full of contradictions? When we walk the paved streets under the shaded trees, is it a feeling of freedom or just a fragile illusion amid a much more complex reality? Brooklyn Bridge has long been one of New York's most famous icons. With millions of visitors each year, This bridge not only has historical value, but is also a romantic rendezvous for couples and an endless source of inspiration for photographers around the world. But behind that splendor lies many problems that few people are willing to face, and sometimes make the dream trip turn into an anxious experience. The first thing many tourists do not expect is the overcrowding of passers-by. The image of a large bridge, often seen on postcards, makes many people mistakenly think this is a comfortable place to walk and admire the scenery. In fact, during peak hours, every meter of road on the bridge is filled with tourists, pedestrians, and cyclists. The crowding not only causes discomfort, but also increases the risk of collisions, accidents, and even fierce arguments between guests and local people. In addition, pickpocketing and tourist fraud are also a dark side that many people have shared when coming here. Under romantic sunsets or shimmering photos on social networks, few people think that there are many people who take advantage of the crowd to steal or manipulate and sell fake goods. Some tourists have recounted the experience of being forced to buy cheap souvenirs at many times the price, or suddenly losing their wallets after a few minutes of being engrossed in taking photos. This is a reality that makes many people feel deceived when comparing promotional images and real experiences. Of course, Brooklyn Bridge is undeniably still an iconic New York destination, but sober recognition will help visitors avoid unwanted shocks. If you plan to visit, many travel experts recommend choosing a time away, keeping your belongings carefully and mentally preparing that the scenery will not be as perfect as advertised. A useful solution is to choose high-end experiential tours from reputable brands such as Expedia, which provide private tour guide services, ensuring safety and helping you enjoy the bridge more fully, without having to worry too much. Is it sometimes the dreamy icon that disappoints us the most because we go there with too high expectations? And do famous places like Brooklyn Bridge still truly bring memorable experiences to the older generation of tourists, or are they just a trap from the glory of the past? The Statue of Liberty has long been an eternal symbol of hope, of the American dream, of generations of immigrants who believed they were entering the promised land. The image of a bright torch facing the sky once brought millions of people to tears when they saw it from afar. But will that dream still be intact when you actually set foot here? The story behind the statue in Ellis Island is not necessarily full of praise, but also filled with many truths that shock people. Nowadays, visiting the Statue of Liberty is not as simple as we think. Tourists have to jostle on crowded ferries, waiting for hours in endless lines. Trips that were expected to be sacred journeys turned into nightmares of fatigue, suffocation, and frustration. Many people leave this place with only frustration, not the overwhelming feeling they once imagined. Ellis Island, once the gateway to millions of immigrants, has now become a giant museum, full of tragic stories rather than auras. Many families who have been here have faced separation at the border, when their relatives have been denied entry or kept in makeshift camps. Many people leave Ellis Island with a heavy feeling. Instead of finding pride, they find themselves witnessing the pain of the past reappear. And the Statue of Liberty, the symbol of freedom, appeared in their eyes like a beautiful illusion from afar, but too harsh to get close. The solution, if any, lies not only in improving tourism services, but also in the way we tell the story of this place. Rather than just painting shimmering pictures, major brands in the travel industry like Expedia have tried to offer a more honest experience, helping visitors prepare themselves before coming here, while suggesting other options that are less stifling but still rich in historical significance. If the Statue of Liberty is a mirror of America, what is the image you see today? A glowing torch guiding the way, or just a dim light covering a faded dream? When it comes to New York, the image of Wall Street and the Charging Bull statue have almost become global symbols of wealth, power, and ambition. This is where millions of tourists come every year to take photos, to get their hands on the lucky cow in the hope of bringing prosperity to themselves. However, behind that glamour lies another truth that few people want to face. Wall Street is not only the American dream, but also a painful nightmare of inequality and disillusionment for many people. Besides skyscrapers, sleek vests, and multi-billion-dollar deals, there are still little-told stories. The dream of getting rich quick that many people bring with them when they come here often disappears in fierce pressure and competition. Many tourists visiting Wall Street shared their feelings of disappointment because this area is increasingly crowded, bustling, and less safe at certain times. Warnings of pickpocketing, jostling, and over-commercialization often appear, causing the charging bull statue to gradually lose its original meaning. If you still want to experience and admire Wall Street, be mentally prepared that not everything is the same as on postcards. And instead of just chasing the lucky illusion of touching a bronze statue, perhaps a better way to protect yourself is to invest in a safe experience. Plan carefully and put your trust in reputable brands in the tourism sector like Expedia to make your journey to New York more complete. Is Wall Street really a symbol of the American dream? Or does it just expose the naked truth about the gap between rich and poor and illusions that have never come true? What was once seen as a noble symbol of freedom and hope now exposes the dark side of truth. Overcrowding, conservation indifference, and visitors' sense of disillusionment when they realize the American dream is no longer as sparkling as promised. The Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island still stood there, but the aura had faded, leaving a burning question. Was this still an inspirational place, or just a commercialized destination, eroding memories and emotions of millions of people? So, when a symbol that once lit up hope for the whole world has now become a place that many people regret, are we witnessing the burial of the American dream itself at its root? And if so, what symbols can we still believe in to remind future generations of freedom and justice? If you find these hidden corners worth pondering, leave a comment, share your thoughts, and don't forget to click like and subscribe so we can continue to discover the truth hidden behind seemingly perfect destinations. This video builds on publicly available information and aggregated views from a variety of sources. Some details are for reference only, have not been fully verified, and are not intended to be an absolute assertion about any location or organization. The content is presented for the purpose of entertaining, analyzing, and provoking reflection in the audience, with absolutely no intention of defaming, criticizing, or calling for negative action against any individual or group. Viewers should consider, test, and experience the reality themselves before making any decisions.